Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Elk Calls here in Wenatchee, Washington. Very windy Wenatchee as we get ready for Game 1 between the Elks and the Apple Sox. Here with West Coast League Commissioner Rob Neyer. And Rob, just got to ask you first and foremost, what's the day-to-day like as the WCL Commissioner?
There is no day-to-day life, Blake. Trust me. The only thing I know every morning is I'm going to take my daughter to her summer camp if I'm home, and then who knows what will happen. Sometimes there will be an umpire's report to review, maybe even, unfortunately, the occasional suspension that I've got to send out. But with so many teams, 16 now, of course, and so many players, so many general managers, assistant general managers, owners, my job, basically, this is a service position. My job is essentially to make life as easy as I can for everyone in the West Coast League, and I actually enjoy doing that.
Yeah, and you've started in the West Coast League as the commissioner in 2018. Now here 6 years later in 2023. What are some differences you've noticed since the beginning?
Well, I mean, again, physically the biggest difference is we have 16 teams now, including 5 in Canada, which is a real sea change for us, and I think everyone is thrilled to have 16 teams in these great markets in Canada and in the Eugene-Springfield area. But one thing that I've taken a lot of personal satisfaction in is, because I played a small role in making it happen, was all of our games now are live streamed on the West Coast League Network, WCL Live. When I started, if you wanted to watch one of our teams, some of them weren't even streaming. Most of them were, but you had to search all over the place to find it. Now you can go to one place and basically see all of our games and toggle back and forth. That's how I spend most of my evenings when I'm not on the road. I'm on my phone or on my laptop going back and forth and finding a game to watch.
Absolutely. It's been super helpful for all of us, especially here in the broadcast field. And then just in the West Coast League, mentioning those new teams that have come since you've started, what depth have they been able to add to the league?
Well, I think that for me, what's exciting is, personally, I get to travel to all these new cities. One of the best things about this job, and there are a bunch of them, trust me, but one of my favorite things is getting to visit. I've never been to Kamloops, probably never would have gone to Kamloops, but now I've got an excuse to go to Kamloops and Nanaimo. So I really enjoy that piece, and I think one of the great things for the players in our league is getting to see so many parts of this beautiful part of the country, and British Columbia, and of course now Alberta as well.
100%. And all you've known since you took over as commissioner is that the Corvallis Knights have won the West Coast League. What is your take on their championship success?
It really is. It's got to be one of the greatest runs in baseball history, certainly in collegiate summer history. And look, year in, year out, the Knights are one of the best teams, no question. But what they've been able to do at the end of the season is truly phenomenal in the playoffs. And a big reason for that, I think if you go back and look, you'll see that probably more than any of the other teams that are competitive year in, year out, the Knights still have a significant percentage of their roster in the middle of August. And you know that as well as anybody. Many of our teams, most of the players, their best players in July, are not still around in mid-August, but the Knights, and I don't know how they do it exactly. They have some trade secrets maybe. Actually, they're not secrets. They'll tell you how they do it, but they still have most of their best players in August. That gives them a huge advantage. And yes, I think even they would admit that it takes a little luck to win 5 straight also.
And you've integrated some rules from the NCAA and MLB with the new pitch clock thing. How has that helped the league?
Well, it's hard to say how much it helps because we don't have attendance yet this season. I think our attendance is up. Is that due to slightly quicker games, a quicker pace? You can never say for sure, right? But I think that most of our players, most of our fans probably enjoy getting home at 9:30 instead of 10 or 10:30, right? I know I do as a fan. It's not that I don't enjoy long baseball games as long as they're moving quickly. So we'll see what everybody thinks at the end of the season. And we don't have the clock out there on the wall for people to focus on, but I do think that our umpires have done a pretty good job of making sure the games that they move along a little quicker than they have in the past.
And I think the players have gotten adjusted to it well. I've only seen it come up a handful of times. 40 players drafted from the WCL this year, including alumni and current players, and just joining the plethora of who have done it since 2005. What is it like to see year in and year out top talent come out of this league?
Well, I think that as a league, all of our teams can take pride in creating this great environment for players. We have a travel schedule that sort of mirrors what you might see in the low minor leagues, which, that can be tough. You've been on some of those bus rides. Yep. But I do think it helps prepare players for a professional career, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do. We want to create great experiences for our players and also our fans.
Absolutely, and you got to witness one of your former players here with the Corvallis Knights play in the All-Star game and have the home run derby, Adley Rutschman. What was that like to see him hit from both sides of the plate and get beat after hitting 27 home runs?
It was an amazing thing, and I was sitting with Dan Siegel, who's been with the Corvallis Knights since day one. Dan is good friends with Adley's father, who threw the pitches to him. And I was sitting with Dan during the home run derby. So it was just a tremendous experience. And Adley Rutschman is such a great asset to, I think, baseball. I mean, I was in Baltimore last summer, and he's just been up for about a month, and everyone was wearing Rutschman jerseys and shirts. And I mean, just to see somebody from the West Coast League and from the Pacific Northwest, because he grew up near Portland, to see him thriving in the majors and to have that sort of presence in a place like Baltimore was just amazing.
I know with all these games through the summer, but just seeing like a game like that, is there any plans to integrate an All-Star game into the WCL?
Oh, I think we'll bring it back. We took the year off last year and the year before because we have our schedule is tougher than it's ever been with the teams in Canada. But I do think that I'll tell you, this is scoop, Blake. You might be the first to have this. We do plan on having an All-Star, some sort of showcase event next summer. We're in the planning stages now, and I can report with confidence that it will be our greatest All-Star game ever next summer. I don't know exactly when or exactly where it's going to be or where you can watch it, but I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm excited for it. I think the All-Star games are great, and I think that would be great to have some other events like a home run derby and stuff. I think it would be awesome and great for the league. I know you're an author. Are you planning on writing a book about this whole thing?
Most of the good stuff I can't put in a book yet. Give me 10 years, maybe someday, when you and I and our camera operator here are far from the West Coast League, I can tell all the stories.
Awesome. And then just 5 years from now, where do you vision the West Coast League being?
Oh gosh, one of my mantras is the future is incredibly unpredictable. I do think that, if you just look at the history of baseball, and I'm a sort of a student, you'll find that no matter what the league, things are going to change. Will we have the same 16 teams in 5 years that we have now? Probably not. I think we'll probably have more teams in 5 years than we have now. I think we'll have some incredible markets. There's a good chance that one of the teams we have now won't be around anymore. If you go back and look at the history of this league, it's been a dynamic league aside from the last couple of years. But that's what makes it interesting, right? We know things will change. If we do know something else about this league, it will be a healthy league, and we'll have great leadership. Whether it's me or someone else, this will be a great place for players and fans alike.
Absolutely, as it has been for going on nearly 2 decades now. Rob Neyer, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure, Blake. Thank you.
All right, that's Rob Neyer, West Coast League Commissioner. Elks taking on the Apple Sox tonight here at 6:35.